To all you sports fans, did you know you can stream this podcast on Spotify right now? It's easy. Open the app on your mobile device or desktop, click on the Browse channel, then click on the podcast section. You can also stream on your smart speaker. Now, it's that much easier for you to stay up to date on all the latest and greatest in all things sports, thanks to Spotify.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Remember to check us out weekdays, 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. But coming up on today's show, LeBron James becomes the third oldest player with a 40-point triple-double. Is this the best he has ever played? Plus, Draymond Green becomes the latest Warrior to go down with an injury. So why is Max saying this is a good thing for them? And the guys will tell you what their biggest issue is with ESPN, the magazine's top 20 most dominant athletes of the last 20 years. Let's get it started. Well, hello there. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into First Take. Molly Karam here solo in Bristol. Max and Stephen A. are on the road. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How y'all doing? How's everything?
Good morning.
Excellent.
Hey, Molly, you check out the new crew cut by Max Kellerman?
I like it.
You know, first of all, he looks good. There's no denying that. But I must confess to you, Molly, I think you're missing something here that Max is trying to do. I think the way that his hair was, a little scraggly at times and the grayness was kicking in, I think somebody along the line told Max that he was looking like he was approaching 50. He got a bit nervous and said, I want to remind y'all I'm closer to 40, and that's what this is about.
He's a baby-faced assassin right there.
That's just me speculating.
First of all, I am approaching 50. I'm 44 years old. I have no problem with that. Second of all,
50.
I like the gray. How do you like that? Hey, Molly, the gray looks good, doesn't it?
It does.
I don't believe you.
Look very handsome. Just like LeBron, getting better with age there. Is it a new barber, though?
Looks terrible.
New barber?
That's a good question, Molly. That's a good question.
No. Oh, okay. Just checking. All right.
All right.
This is the haircut. It's a little shorter, then it grows in. I get it cut again. Why acting like it's something new?
That's how a haircut works. Thanks for explaining. All right. LeBron with a performance for the ages, becoming the third oldest player to ink a 40-point triple-double last night against the Bucks. Max, are you ready to admit that this is the best LeBron has ever played?
Much like explaining how a haircut works, I now have to explain how this works. No! I understand why people think this is the best LeBron has ever played, because when your eyes are on LeBron James, it's hard to imagine someone playing better than that. You know, it reminds me of the old Bob Gibson quote, Stephen A., the great Hall of Fame pitcher on the Cardinals. He was asked, what's the best catch you ever saw? And he said, the best catch is like the prettiest woman. The last great one you saw, that's the best one you ever saw. And that's LeBron James's career. Every year you're watching him, you think, wait, this must be the best he's ever played. Because you can't imagine a higher level. But I'm here to tell you there has been a higher level. It was Miami, his third season there, the second championship. He played lights out on offense, as he always does. But in addition to that, he played intense defense, wire to wire. That was prime LeBron James. This is an older, wiser LeBron James. This is a LeBron James who is incredibly great for his age. As I made the analogy earlier, another baseball one, Stephen A., it's like a rising fastball. A rising fastball doesn't actually go up. It just doesn't sink at the rate you're expecting because of the spin on the ball. And because of that, it appears to rise. That's LeBron James. His decline is so slight, practically imperceptible, and yet we see the years piling up. It feels like he's getting even better, but he's not.
Here's what I would tell you. If you want to say he's not getting better, then point to the fact that it's suspect interior defense in the NBA. The game is called considerably softer. The absence of contact that's allowed, or rather the level of contact that's allowed has significantly dissipated compared to years past. And because of that, that puts LeBron James in the enviable position of being able to attack the basket with relative impunity, because he doesn't have much to worry about. Because, I mean, they'll call you for a foul for having bad breath for counting out loud. We all know this. But in the end, you have to go through what your eyes are seeing. There's a cat that's 33 years of age. For some reason, where everybody else on the universe is getting worse with age, he gets better, it seems. Obviously, he's more intelligent of a basketball player with each passing year. I don't see a strong drop-off in terms of his athleticism, but his perimeter shooting, his three-point shooting, that really stands out in my mind. And when I see some of the post moves that he put forth last night, like I love the dream shake that he put on the Greek Freak last night, it was something special to behold. And I'm going to look at it from that perspective, and I'm going to say the arsenal that he is putting on display makes this to me or at least it just puts in my mind that he's looking better than he's ever looked, because he's not doing one or two things, pretty well. He's pretty much doing whatever is required. Outside, inside, driving to the basket, spot up shots, shots in the lane, back to the basket, facing the basket. Whatever the moment calls for, he seems more than equipped to embrace the challenge. And when we take that into consideration, along with the fact that in this day and age, the competition in the Eastern Conference has stiffened up to some degree compared to years past, and you still see you getting what you're getting from him without Kyrie Irving, for a large chunk without Kevin Love, with J.R. Smith looking non-existent. George Hill's just starting point guard. George Hill, you can't go 0 for 2, bro. Can't go 0 for 2 as a starting point guard in the NBA with LeBron and Kevin Love and these boys on the court. You've got to do something. Him and J.R. Smith have got to do something. I'm going to start asking that question again. Who the hell shot J.R.? Who shot J.R. from that Dallas sitcom from years ago? Who shot J.R.? Because his shot is nowhere to be found. It's like he's gotten shot, for crying out loud. Somebody needs to talk to this man. And at the end of the day, when you're LeBron James and you got all of that working against you, but you're still doing what you're doing, I got to give credit where credit is due.
There are three things I have to clean up right now, Stephen A. Okay. First of all, Dallas was not a sitcom, or that was Dynasty, sorry, was not a sitcom. It was a, what would you call it, a primetime soap opera?
Yeah, it's prime time. It's prime time. It's prime time. That's prime time. It wasn't a comedy.
Yeah,
My bad.
That's the most important thing, I think.
My bad.
But also, there are two things I want to comment about what you just said. One, this is one of LeBron James's, 10 or dozen best seasons. Like, they're all like this. And in terms of the outside shot and everything, that third season in Miami, he was hitting the three at a very high clip, very similar to this year. He was posting up when he had to, but the big difference is you're only talking this year about one side of the floor. That third season in Miami, it was both sides of the floor. That's one. The next thing is this. James Harden and Russell Westbrook over the last couple seasons are putting up statistical years, the likes of which Kobe Bryant never put up. Does that mean that they're better than Kobe Bryant? No, of course not. They are benefiting from two things. One, they're great players, Harden and Westbrook. And two, the league allows for this now. You spoke about that earlier when you talked about the soft interior defense, but it's also the style of play. Westbrook and Harden are great players. Let me be very clear. Kobe Bryant was better, but the stats, at least the advanced stats, won't show it because the league has changed. So even if LeBron's advanced stats say on offense, only on offense, that he's as good offensively as he's ever been, that's not true because the league has changed. And then that doesn't even include his defense. Just keep in mind, all the guys who put up crazy numbers, almost all of them, Wilt Chamberlain, Elgin Baylor, and Oscar Robertson I brought up in that great year that everyone set all these records. Nowadays, Westbrook averaging a triple-double. Those kind of numbers are put up in leagues that allow for those kind of numbers. It doesn't mean... By the way, when LeBron was in his prime, was anyone else putting up numbers close to him? No, all of a sudden now you got 2-3 guys putting up very similar numbers to LeBron James. In Harden's case, you can argue better. Is Harden better than LeBron James? Guys, he is the benefit. LeBron appears to be as good or better than ever on one side of the floor because of that. But there are two sides of the floor. Well, and he's not the best he's ever been.
I'm glad to see that you remembered that because I brought that up about it in the past when you were raving about him, and I pointed out how Kawhi Leonard comes out from open and tap looking for the toughest defensive assignment, and you were just shoving that aside because LeBron James was sitting there and he was all world. I'm talking about months ago. I'm not talking about now because we all know you changed when the facts
shoving
changed.
Anything aside.
I totally understand that. I get where you're coming from. But in the end, here's what it comes down to, Maximilian. Here's what it comes down to. You see, I have a purpose and a method to my madness. And here's what it is, Max Kellerman. If LeBron continues to look the way that he looks, looking as great as he has looked, going up against a stiffer Eastern Conference, combined with the fact that you're getting Kevin Love back, and bringing these players along. And now that we've got the Tyronn Lue situation being addressed, all the stress seems to be dissipating and fading away, which means we won't have to hear any excuses if they can't get it done this year. What did you say? How I'm looking at it.
Let's get it done.
How I'm looking at it. I'm talking about, listen.
Let's get it done.
I'm talking about winning the chip, baby. That's why he's playing. That's why he's playing. That's why he's playing.
Yeah,
Let me tell you why this makes sense.
Winning
Let me tell you,
the chip.
Hold on. Stay with me. Stay with me. You have to remember, you'll agree with this position. Max Kellerman, don't make me pull out the tape on you, because I will. Max Kellerman said they won't beat Golden State, but they do have a chance to beat Houston. In the same breath, you're saying Houston has a big chance to beat Golden State. So if Houston has a big chance to beat Golden State, and you've already conceded that Cleveland could beat Houston, particularly if LeBron was playing the way that he was playing, combined with the fact that he's got Kevin Love back and what have you, and he's the best player in the world. To me, what I love about all of this is that there's going to be no excuses for anybody. No excuses for Houston, no excuses for Golden State, no excuses for LeBron and Cleveland. I actually like this.
Well, let's put it this way.
Doesn't bother me.
Let's put it this way. You're right. There are no excuses in the sense that barring catastrophic injury in the playoffs, the best team will win. In that case, you're right. There are no excuses. When I said I thought Cleveland could beat Houston, not that they would beat, but that they could beat Houston, that was a different Cleveland team. The team has changed. We've seen what they're really about.
This was after the trade.
And I do not think they can beat Houston if Houston is healthy.
This was after the trade. This was after the trade you said that.
If it was after the, we'd have to go back and check. If it was after the trade, I assume it was after they stopped the
and
Celtics
they went on a little winning streak.
And then beat the Thunder handily at OKC. Yeah. Well, right. Well, let me say I think very differently about the Cavs since then, post-All-Star break.
Okay.
Now, it could be a function of Kevin Love. That's what I've maintained the whole time. LeBron can't play better than this at his age. Like, who can play better than this? He's the best player in the league. LeBron, as I said, when your eyes are on him, you go, you can't play better than that. So it's not really about LeBron. It is about the supporting cast. And absent another all-star, enter Kevin Love, they don't have a chance. If Kevin Love can be something more like the Minnesota Kevin Love than he was as the worst version of the Kevin Love on Cleveland, then maybe they got a shot. We got to see what that looks like. It was promising last night, but that was against the Milwaukee Bucks. You know, I beat the Milwaukee Bucks twice last week. I mean, that's what happens when you play Milwaukee. The Greek Freak drops 72, and your team wins. So that's what happened with Cleveland.
All right, guys,
wake me up when they beat a good team.
Let's move forward into that. So LeBron, obviously the first player in NBA history to record a 40-point triple-double in his 15th season. Stephen A. Max, you both mentioned Kevin Love back on the court last night, scoring 18 in his return from a fractured hand. His first game since January 30th, and of course, they got the win. So, Stephen A., I'll start with you on this. Did last night prove the Cavs will win the East?
Well, last night didn't prove it. I was saying they were going to win the East before Kevin Love returned, and I still feel that way. I don't think anybody's beating the Cleveland Cavaliers in the East, and if you recall, I've repeatedly said, I didn't even bring up the Cavs. I said the East is not beating LeBron. That's what I said. This specifically because LeBron, nobody's beating him the best 4 out of 7 in the Eastern Conference, in my opinion, unless LeBron just doesn't want to lose another NBA Finals and record his 6th NBA Finals loss in his career. That's the only way that it's going to happen. There's 2 scenarios. You got that or, listen, here's the deal. In the Eastern Conference, LeBron can't get
excuse.
No, LeBron can't get bounced out in the first round, and he can't get bounced out by Kyrie. Both of those storylines would be more disastrous, or I shouldn't even say the first round. Him losing to Kyrie Irving would be more disastrous, more problematic for him than losing a 6th NBA Finals because you shouldn't have lost Kyrie. Outside of him losing to Kyrie Irving, okay, I can't see any scenario that would prevent LeBron James from coming out of the East other than a disinterest in losing a 6th NBA Finals. I don't see Toronto, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Washington, Indiana. Miami even. I don't see these teams beating LeBron James in a best 4 out of 7. I just don't see it.
All right, never mind what I was going to say, because I got to go at you for this.
Sure.
You just finished saying no excuses. You just finished saying no excuses. Now you got a prediction on the Cavs, but you built in an excuse in case they lose. Now you can say LeBron James didn't want to lose in the finals.
Hold it, Mr. Intellectual. Comprehend the words being elocuted out of my mouth.